Thank you for joining us again for Local Flavor. I'm Deborah Anderson and I'm here with Mary Goddard. I hope you caught our episode on how to make homemade fresh pasta. And right now we're going to work on some sauces and cooking that pasta to make the meal. So Mary, what kind of sauces are we making today?
We're going to make your basic marinara. Basic marinara, you can do it a couple of different ways. I'm doing my marinara, which is different than my sister's in her cookbook. Mine is a vegetable base. So what we're going to be doing is, with the food processor, I'm going to process down 2 carrots, 2 stalks of celery, and 1 onion. And of course it depends upon the size. I had 2 medium carrots and 2 medium stalks of celery, and then 1 onion, larger onion. Generally it's a large stalk of celery and a large carrot, but it doesn't really matter. It's just carrot, celery, and onion mixture, those 3 things.
And you haven't cooked them, all you've done is...
No, they're raw. We'll
them.
process them down and then we'll put them in the pot to go along with 3 tablespoons of butter and 1/3 cup of olive oil.
Okay, let's see how small we got to process these.
Okay. All I do is, it doesn't have to be in any order, just put them in and we'll process them down.
Okay, so it's kind of a shred then is what you're getting.
Yes.
It probably doesn't matter. They're probably going to disintegrate in the sauce pretty much, aren't they?
The idea is that it turns to mush. You don't want to see the carrot or the celery or the onion in the sauce. It is the flavor of the sauce. So there's some people that start with maybe olive oil, butter, and a basil or something like that. Anything is fine, but it does not have meat in it. It generally doesn't have like a fish flavor or anything. It is a basic sauce that then you can add to and make anything you want to out of it.
The basic flavor you're looking for is tomato. What you add to that can be varied.
Yes, it can be varied. Let's see. Get this moved around here a little bit. There we go. I process this down because it cooks so much faster then.
Your food processor is nice and quiet.
I love my food processor. I don't know what I would do without it, really. I don't.
Mine sounds like something bad is happening.
Then when that's done, we just take everything off. I had a little carrot there that didn't quite make the cut, but that's all right.
It's always like that. It's like they discriminate against one.
Yes. Then I just take this over and I have my butter and my olive oil already in there. And I get out my spatula and I put this in. I almost always add some water for extra liquid because this takes a little while to cook.
Have you got the butter and olive oil in yet, or we're going to add that?
No, I've already put that in. It's ready to go.
So you said 3 tablespoons of butter and 1/3 cup of olive oil.
1/3 cup of olive oil.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to look in. It's really in there. Have you added the water yet, or you just
No,
wait and see?
I will add water. I always add water. But just getting that mixed around a little bit. And actually I let that just melt down before I add the water. So we'll let that melt a little bit. And then this will have to cook for probably, maybe 20 minutes to get it cooked down enough.
Just these vegetables?
Just these.
Okay.
Then what we'll put in that is 2 cans of tomato juice, the 46-ounce cans, and 1 12-ounce can of tomato paste.
Okay.
And then after that has cooked, it cooks about 2.5 hours or so. You can also add some sweet basil. Sometimes I add some sweet basil in with that too. That's fine.
Okay.
Or you can add basil and oregano, or you can add a little bit of cinnamon. But that is generally your basic sauce.
Okay, so we're going to need to sweat these down for about 20 minutes. When are you going to add the water?
I'm going to add it now.
Okay.
Because
I just don't want it to scorch.
Right. And I can see that the butter's melted, everything's kind of melted and ready to cook, but I will add water because I don't want to come And just check on this all the time. I want it to just cook and be done with it. So we will let that just cook.
We need about 20 minutes, and then we're going to add the tomato juice and sauce.
Correct.
So maybe a good thing to do while that's sweating down is to prepare the pasta water.
Absolutely.
Okay, so since this is going to have to sweat down so long, why don't I help us out and I'll move it to another burner so we can move
Perfect.
on and start on our pasta.
That'll be great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, so what I think takes the longest about pasta is boiling the water. So
Yes.
how are we preparing that?
I start the water boiling fairly early. It can keep boiling. You can have it. You can bring it to a boil and put it down on low, and it really kind of simmers there until you're ready to pop your pasta in, and then you can just turn it up. This is a pan that has the colander inside, so when you lift it out, the water stays, and whatever you're boiling comes out with you. That helps you to be able to reuse this water over and over again. You might have to add more water, but it's already salted, and so you never have to start another whole pan of water boiling.
Yeah, and what you mentioned is that the salt is going to go in the water. We didn't put any salt in our pasta,
Nope,
so it's going to get its flavor from the water.
That's right. I put 2 tablespoons of salt in here, and I use a kosher salt, and it's heavy grain salt. It's not table salt, so if you look, it's a much coarser grain salt.
Oh, it is. That's nice.
Yep, put that in there too.
Okay, awesome.
So this has to boil, and like I say, when it comes to a full boil, you can turn it down until you're ready for your pasta, and then just about right before you put your pasta in, turn it back up, and it'll be fine.
Okay, well, we'll wait for this to boil.
Right.
And in the meanwhile, we're making another sauce. What kind of sauce is this?
We're going to make bechamel, and that is a cream sauce, and I have a little bit of it started right now. I put in here 2 tablespoons of butter, and I will add 2 tablespoons of flour. It's just like a regular cream sauce. The reason why I'm doing a bechamel, it's going to be in place of a fettuccine sauce. Fettuccine has egg yolk and cream in it.
The Alfredo sauce?
The Alfredo sauce, yes. And a lot of people are egg sensitive, so as I am, I really can't eat fettuccine Alfredo sauce. So you make a bechamel, and you can put in your Parmesan cheese, you can put in any of your other, if you want to put garlic in it or whatever you can, and you make it taste pretty much like a fettuccine Alfredo sauce.
Okay.
So we'll just turn this on a little bit, on low.
How much butter did you say it was?
2 tablespoons of butter to 2 tablespoons of flour.
So anytime you've got equal part flour and butter, you're making a roux.
Yes.
Which is great for thickening.
Yes. And I always like my butter to melt down pretty good. And when I add my flour, I like my flour to cook. A lot of people just add it and whip it up and then add the milk. I like it to become almost just a little bit brown, because if your flour cooks, it gives another little nutty flavor to your sauce.
It does, and it takes away the flavor of what flour tastes like. You want it
Yes.
to taste like
So,
bechamel, not flour water.
yes. So that cooks a little bit. Just to talk about this, I use this also in my lasagna. A lot of times I don't want to use a ricotta, and I know a lot of Americans use regular cottage cheese in their lasagna, which is absolutely fine. When I was in Italy, one of my favorite lasagnas was made by Aunt Lena. Zia Lena is what her name was, which aunt is Zia in Italian. And she used the bechamel sauce in hers, and it was the most wonderful lasagna I've ever tasted.
Instead of
ricotta cheese.
Did it still have mozzarella?
It had mozzarella and it had some Parmesan. The Parmesan goes inside of the bechamel. So that's
I would not have thought of that. I wouldn't have thought you could get the bulk out of it, but I bet with the Parmesan it would thicken up quite a bit.
it's different. The texture's a little bit different. The flavor is unbelievable. I just love it. So this is cooking down pretty well. And it's starting to get that nice little bubbly cooking, and so I don't want it to be burned, so I just have to wait for it just to have just a little bit of different color texture, and it's coming there right now. Then this is low-cal. This would be half and half, and whole cream. Well, I have some whole cream in there too.
That looks like heavy whipping cream to me.
And milk, a cup of each.
1 cup of each of milk and
Half and half or whole whipping cream.
okay.
Whatever you want.
I think they'll turn out about the same. Maybe it might thicken faster if you use the heavier things, but it will be okay if you have the...
Some people like to add garlic into this, or chives, or parsley. You can also add into this gorgonzola cheese. There's a wonderful, wonderful recipe with cream and gorgonzola. And that's it. That goes over, you put that over gnocchi with a little bit of chives in it. Unbelievable. It's delicious. We're going to turn this up now.
With you listing all those things, it kind of reminded me of something I had heard you say before about how Italian cooking is so simple compared to what most of us in America have learned it to be.
Italians cook pretty much fresh. They use 2 or 3 spices, but they don't take the spice rack out and see how many combinations they can put in the sauce. That's an American way, and it's not that it's wrong. It's just a different way of doing things. When you go there and have a pizza in Italy, there's no such thing as a supreme. If you have a pizza with 4 toppings, 1 topping, say it's anchovies, will be there. If you want green peppers, it'll be there. Artichokes will be here, and asparagus might be there. So they're all divided up. They're very rarely mixed. The most interesting pizza I ever saw was a French fry pizza, and it was pizza crust with marinara piled with French fries and some arugula on it. I didn't taste it. I just saw it walk by. So that was very, very, very much an American sauce. We're going to turn this down just a little bit.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm just going to turn it even lower because it's boiling. Okay.
So when you talk about all the options, you're thinking mostly either or this, but you wouldn't pile everything in if you
No.
Because this way you can really celebrate one flavor or another.
That's exactly right. It's not about how many spices you can get in it. It's about the distinctive taste of your sauce. And so the gorgonzola, it's wonderful. It's a cup of cream, and then you put in as much gorgonzola as you want. You find the taste for that. When my hunters were here, I made gnocchi with gorgonzola and chives. And there's one gentleman, he took his piece of bread and he wiped the platter clean of the gorgonzola sauce. Is quite good. It really, really is. So, okay, this is. We just have to wait for this to thicken up some more. And also we add in Parmesan cheese. I'm adding in 1/3 cup of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. I grate my own cheese. I buy it in a head of cheese at a time, and I cut it into slices, triangle, pie-shaped pieces, and then I freeze it. And then when I want it, I bring it out and I grate it. And so that's going to go in here. And we'll whisk that around.
And this is the kind of sauce you wouldn't leave to its own devices. Like we
No.
were able to put the marinara sauce over there to take care of itself, but
yes.
this is the sauce you want to keep your eye on.
Yes. Now, actually, you can put this in the microwave. You can do all this in the microwave. You do your butter and flour first, and then you would add your cream and put it in the microwave and stir it every once in a while. And what's so neat about that is it never scorches in the microwave. So this is just about done. So now,
And how are you going to tell when it's done? Does it bubble on the edge, or does it just kind of thicken and
well,
stick to
it
your
is-
whisk?
it's thickening. It has a nice creamy flavor to it, and you can see that it's nice and thick.
Bubbles down there.
And you can see that it's bubbling down there. And so this is when you really watch it because you
don't want to scorch.
No.
Especially with the milk in there.
That's right. And see, we've got a nice bechamel right now. So I'm turning it off. Okay.
That's why I love your gas range, because now it's off. It really is
It's off. That's right. The only way it's cooking is the heat that's left in there, but there's no other heat coming from there and cooking it again. So, are we going to do what now? Would you like to?
Are we ready to drip in our pasta?
I think we should.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we going to put what kind in first?
We'll put in the fettuccine first. It takes the longest to cook. Okay. And we're going to just put that on low. And we have let that dry a little bit. So in it goes.
Now, how are we going to know when this is done?
When it's done, we're going to test it, and we take out a piece and test it, and it has to be al dente. And al dente is, if you think of the word dente, dentist, that is a French name that means a little bit of bite to the food, or bite, you feel a bite to it. And so generally the very, very inside of the noodle is not cooked completely through. And so you can take the noodle out and cut it, and if you can see a lot of white, it's not done yet. A little bit of white in the very center, then it's done. And then you take it out, because pasta, like anything else, will continue to cook. So you don't want it to be mushy.
Yeah.
So
I was surprised. I did a little research and I found out if you overcook your pasta, it raises the glycemic index, which I don't know why, but that's a reason to cook al dente, not only because that's the right way, but because of the glycemic index too.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
That's quite surprising to me.
But like to the tooth. Okay. You want to have to chew it, but you don't want it to stick to your teeth.
Right. Right, that's exactly right. Well, this is going to take a little while, so maybe we should get everything ready for when we need to put it through the colander and get it ready to serve on the platter. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go do that then.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be right back. Yep. All right, we're going to test and see if the pasta's done. We think it might be. She's pulled out a little bit of fettuccine, and what she's done is cut it. I'm going to put it really close to the camera.
If you can see, it's not quite done because the center of the pasta is still pretty white. And so it probably needs maybe another couple minutes.
Okay.
And then it should be done. But even though it kind of appears like it's done, it's very limp, you have to just test the center of that.
Okay.
But I think probably in 2 minutes we'll have spaghetti.
Okay, well I'm going to bring you over this hot pan with the sweated down vegetables for our marinara.
Okay.
So while that finishes, we can add the rest of the ingredients there.
I'm turning the water off because this will continue to cook.
Okay.
Without it boiling. And so that'll be done as soon as we're done here. The spaghetti will be finished.
I'm going to set that on there.
Okay. Now, the vegetables have cooked down fairly well. They'll finish cooking in the sauce. And we are going to add 2 cans of tomato sauce or tomato juice, which is 46-ounce cans.
The big cans then.
This will make enough raw sauce or basic sauce for many, many meals. And that's what I do. If I'm going to make sauce, I'm going to make enough. So what I don't use, I freeze.
Now, do you have a favorite brand of tomato juice?
Whatever's on sale. I think generally I look for sales. I really do. Mm-hmm. A lot of products are packaged or made at the same factory and the labels are different. And so if you find a tomato juice that tastes good, I think both the IGA tomato juice and the Surefine, I'm thinking that they probably come out of the same factory. I'm not sure.
So 2 big cans of tomato juice.
And then this is a 12-ounce can of tomato paste, and this is called Great Value, and this is a very nice, sweet tomato paste, and so I like it very much. Actually, my sister uses this too.
Now, you were saying that some of the pastes are more bitter, and you prefer to use the sweet one.
Well, I don't. I think this is a very sweet tasting paste. I prefer that over a bitter tomato. I'm making a wonderful sauce. I don't want it bitter. So.
But I think I know what you're talking about with the bitter.
So, you get all that out, and I just scrape it off, and then I whisk it. And I love to have all my little utensils right in my area here, so I can grab everything. Once I get that whisked in well, then I will add 2 tablespoons of sweet basil. If I want, I can. This is raw sauce right now. If I want to add sweet basil, I can. If I want to add oregano, I can. It's still your basic marinara sauce, but this is a basic sauce that I could put on anything right now.
Now, if you were going to add garlic, when would you add the garlic?
I add the garlic now, and which, as a matter of fact, thank you for reminding me because I have it there. I don't put the garlic in when the vegetables are cooking, because if by chance you got it too hot, it could scorch the garlic. I do not want scorched garlic in my sauce. So this is a pasta or a garlic press, and the plunger just goes down in there, and then sometimes it takes a little manpower, but
that is a big clove of garlic for that
but
little tiny press.
It goes in there. It'll be fine, and I just press it all in.
Works like a potato ricer. Of course, nowadays people know what a garlic press is more than a ricer.
Yes, they do. And so there you are. And that's done. Now we can stir this up a little bit more, and it's ready to continue cooking.
That's going to take about 2 more hours?
Yeah, I'll take something like that.
Just on a simmer?
Right.
I'm going to move the lid. I bet we're probably
done
with this pasta.
We're done with that. And so what we're going to do is we'll just lift this out. And the water just drains right out back into the pan. And we'll take this over and we will put it in the colander, add a little bit of Parmesan cheese to it. I always add Parmesan cheese to my pasta because then your sauce will stick to it.
Oh, I have never heard that. Okay, so we have got the fettuccine all cooked, and it has Parmesan on it to make the sauce stick, and we are going to put the bechamel sauce on it because it's very much like Alfredo. You just have a few more seasonings to put in. What are you recommending?
I'm just putting in 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and I don't put very much salt in because the Parmesan cheese has salt. I put in some white pepper, and it would be about 1/4 of a teaspoon, and a whisk, just a trace of nutmeg.
You're not even putting in the whole...
Oh no, just a bit. Just a bit, that's it.
Yeah, I think this nutmeg is so interesting because I think about it for baked goods, but not so much for savories, so I'm so anxious to try that.
It's wonderful. So, I know that they have teaspoons now that have a wisp or a dash or a smidgen. Well, that is what this would be. And we're just warming it up a little bit more because we have our pasta done. And we're going to put it on the pasta and add just a few parsley flakes because I think it makes a pretty plate.
Yeah, it does.
So.
And it looks just like a beautiful Alfredo cream sauce. Yes. It really does. Now in this, remember it was just the roux, the butter and the flour, then some milk and whipping cream. Look at that, you guys. And just thickened up, that was it. And then the very few spices at the end. Doesn't that look awesome?
I generally
stick it on there a little.
Yeah. Move it around.
Oh, I wish you could smell it. It is awesome.
And add a little bit of the parsley flakes. I love color. and I love the taste of parsley. There you are.
Well, since it's a giant plate, I usually like to taste it, but I'm not going to ruin the whole plate. Let's take a break and go taste it all together.
Okay.
Okay.
Delicioso.
Yum.